So, Arsenal 0, Aston Villa 2. Unai Emery's return to the Emirates. Has he sunk our title hopes? Ollie Watkins with a brilliantly taken second goal. Lifelong Arsenal fan. Has he killed our hopes? What went wrong? Such a familiar feeling, isn't it? After the euphoria of most of last season, we went through exactly this with totally inexplicable performances, particularly that loss to Brighton at home, which this kind of feels like. Wasn't as bad as the performance against Brighton last year. But what did go wrong? Well, we've got to start with the lineup. I'm going to be honest and say that when I saw the lineup, I thought, you know what? I did a video yesterday talking about how this was Arteta's toughest decision because he would have been tempted to rest players. I mean, after all, Aston Villa have had no time to prepare since playing Lille on Thursday night, and we've had extra time to rest. But we have that massive game against Bayern coming up, and now it's even more massive. So when the starting lineup includes Jesus and Trossard and Havertz and Saka, Odegaard and Rice, you do kind of feel like we'd set up to get the game won. We had enough firepower on that pitch. In fact, we had almost all of our options on that pitch. And for the first half, even though you have to say Villa definitely came closest to scoring on 2 occasions, we looked like we were doing okay. We looked like we would grind this out, but the nerves, God knows what was said at half-time, but the nerves were so evident in the second half. We couldn't keep the ball. We were sloppy. We had no incision whatsoever. Aston Villa didn't sit. Aston Villa soaked up all of whatever pressure there was from us. It was tired in a way that speaks to a kind of nervousness that these title run-ins seem to inspire in us. This is what's so impressive about Manchester City, that when it comes to these games, they win them. They play without the fear that we saw in our game in the second half. People are going to point the finger of blame at Zinchenko, and in fairness, this wasn't the game for him. He was too sloppy, too casual. Declan Rice didn't have the kind of impact on this game you would have hoped. I mean, you've got to remember that Aston Villa were without David Luiz and Kamara, their defensive midfield pivot. And yet, we just could not take control of that midfield. Havertz in the midfield reminded us why he's taken so much criticism. And although he had the run-on goal that could have been and wasn't, he looked probably the most likely to score. It just didn't happen. When the changes came, arguably they came a bit too late. But I mean, who are you bringing on there? Who do you want to take off? Is the title over? Well, when Leon Bailey scored that goal, I've got to say, I had a sinking feeling. I watched Crystal Palace earn an amazing 3 points at Anfield, which no one would have predicted. And I don't think anyone really predicted Aston Villa taking all 3 points from us. There were some banana skins in our run-in, but this I didn't think would be one of them. I've said it about every game. If you don't win this one, you can't be champions. But there are still 6 games to go. So is it all over? Manchester City on a kind of form that they showed against Luton, but it is only Luton. Well, then it's definitely over. But I look ahead to their next 2 fixtures. Remember, they don't play because of the FA Cup next weekend. So it's a while before their next Premier League away game, which gives us a chance to catch up and retake the lead if we can beat Wolves away, which of course now is not looking so certain. But we do seem to be playing better away than we do at home. And part of that has to be the crowd, has to be us. Our nerves, our fears, our jitters. We want this so much. It kicks you right in the stomach, doesn't it? It's the hope that kills you, they say. But looking at Manchester City's first away game, it's away to Brighton. Now, we had a really good performance away to Brighton. If they do as well, they'll take 3 points. After that, they're away to Forest, which they slipped up in this time last year. Not sure this Forest team have got that kind of surprise in them. Then it's a home game against Wolves, and then an away game to Fulham. And Fulham are playing really well at the moment. It's not inconceivable that any one of these could be a draw. Probably more likely the Brighton and the Fulham games than any of the others. But then they go away to Spurs. So imagine they do take 4 points and we somehow take 4 points to that penultimate game they play away to Spurs. What if Spurs could do us that favour? I know a lot of their fans at the moment are almost 50-50 on whether they want to win it and get into the top four or lose it and have us beaten in the league. What a tragic way to be a football fan. But you have to imagine that Ange Postecoglou and the team are going to set up to try and win that game, and who knows? I don't think Man City are going to lose any of these games, but a draw might be enough. There's only 2 points in it. Our goal difference is still better. Then there's the last game of the season, which is them playing West Ham at home. West Ham, I don't know if they're going to have anything to play for, perhaps a European push, but you fancy they'll win that. But there are 6 games left. If today's shown us anything, it's that you cannot always say that teams will beat the teams in front of them that they're supposed to. Manchester City only need to drop 2 points if we get all of the rest of ours. But, you know, we have Chelsea at home still to play. We have Man United away, Spurs away, Wolves away. It's a tough one. We also have this away game at Bayern to look forward to. We haven't really turned up in the big away days yet. We didn't win away at Villa. I can't believe they've taken 6 points off us this season. We didn't win away at Newcastle. We didn't win away at Liverpool. We didn't win away at Manchester City. Arguably, you know, we're not winning the big away games, and we're going to have to at least grind out a draw to the penalty shootout that we could win. But Manuel Neuer in between the sticks, although he's apparently picked up further damage to his adductor injury that kept him out up until the game at the Emirates. Maybe we'll all feel much better on Wednesday night if we do go through against Bayern and Real Madrid knock out Manchester City. Maybe that's the tonic that we need. Right now, though, I'd be lying if I said this didn't feel like the end. And it's still very near the event, so that's normal, I guess. Maybe I'm just being overly pessimistic. I want to hear from you. Let's get in the comments. We're doing a live tonight at 9 o'clock. If you're watching this after that, you can go and check it out. I guess it's a time for us to come together. There's going to be a lot of complaining. There's going to be a lot of whinging. And let's be honest, there's going to be a lot of fans out there gloating. Spurs fans are going to love this. People will talk again about us bottling it. But notice, I don't think they're going to say that about Liverpool. I don't think that other teams who haven't really been in this position understand what it feels like as a fan. So what it feels like as a fan, if I imagine what it must feel like as a player to be this close, to be touching distance of greatness and feel like it's slipping through your fingers. In the end, real champions are tested by how they respond to very bad results. And we have a chance now to show how we're going to respond to what was a really damaging result. In summary, I don't really know what went wrong. If I had to guess, I would say that it's just another occasion when we felt too much pressure of nerves. Maybe that's because Arteta's a young manager and he doesn't know how to calm the team down. Maybe he doesn't instill that kind of we will win confidence that Pep Guardiola with his endless list of trophies does. Has Arteta taken us as far as he can? No, I don't think so. And that conversation is going to resurface. If this season does end with a defeat to Bayern on Wednesday and a second or worse still third place, then of course knives will be out. But I think as a fan base, we have to acknowledge what this team has done. This has been an outstanding year to today. 2024 has seen 1 defeat, 1 draw, and 10 wins. Our goal difference has been drastically changed since December, the end of December, when everybody had already said we were out of it. Were those people right? Still too early to say. It is still too early to say. I'm going to find it really hard to be upbeat today and tomorrow. But then we get ever closer to that Bayern away trip, and football is magic, isn't it? So can we get through against Bayern? Can we beat Wolves away to go top again? Will Man City slip up in any of the games I've already described? Honestly, I think Liverpool The result today for Liverpool was more damaging than the result for us. Ours could be a one-off, an aberration. It could make it easier on the nerves of our players to be in that chasing position rather than out ahead. Maybe I'm just grasping at straws here. Anyway, let me know in the comments how you feel. Join us in the 9 o'clock live if you need consolation or if you need to be together. But I would forgive you if you just want to find a dark room and lie down, because honestly, that's kind of how I feel. But it isn't over. We can't start acting like it's over until it is mathematically impossible. And this season has been an improvement on last season, and one that could still see us reach a record points tally in the Premier League. And this season could still be such a magnificent one. We could still win the double. Don't stop believing. Till I see you again. Be lucky! Lots of love.